So if you've ever wondered what is the feasibility of upgrading your three-way absorption fridge to a compressor fridge, so these are the vents from the absorption fridge. We had an old Electrolux RM4401 three-way absorption fridge. It used to be really great, but then we went on a very, very bumpy road in Romania in about 2007, and that kind of wrecked the fridge. So we upgraded to a modern compressor-based fridge, and let me take you through that. So hi folks, I'm Roger from Offgrid Van Life, and in this episode we'll be looking at the upgrade of our fridge, and we'll be looking from two angles. Firstly, how feasible is it to take a nearly 30-year-old motorhome and upgrade the fridge, and secondly, we'll be taking you through the basically a review of this particular fridge that we chose, why we chose it and how it has performed on a live trip. So we've been away for 9 days, and we'll take you through just how well it has performed over those 9 days. So during the installation we installed this smart shunt here. It's a 50 amp Junktech, just to measure exactly how much this fridge would actually use. So this is a pretty accurate shunt, and we don't know many cases where somebody would install a shunt just to measure what their fridge uses. So here's the shunt, smart shunt. Here's the display for the shunt. The figure that we're interested in is this one here, which is 318 amp hours consumed. So this has been running for over 9 days now, coming on to nearly 10 days. And we've been monitoring it every day to see just how much it uses on a daily basis. And the figure is 35 amp hours, in case you're interested. So that's actually more efficient than I expected, because we've just been through a record heat wave in the UK. We've reached temperatures of 40 degrees. On the drive down from Scotland yesterday, we were for most of the way we were well in the 30s, and for several hours we were about 39 degrees centigrade. And for this to have consumed 35 amp hours a day over these 9 days has been quite remarkable, and very, very impressed. So from the point of view of how much drain it'll place on your storage, your power storage, 35 amp hours is really acceptable given what this fridge does for you. So well pleased with that. So here is the actual fridge, and it is the Isotherm Freeline 115 Elegance Fridge. We ordered it from JPC Direct, and this cost us £875 delivered, so £825 for the fridge itself plus £50 delivery. This particular model that we ordered can take 230 AC, well 115 to 230 AC, or 12 and 24 volts. So when you're plugged into shore power, it will use directly shore power AC, and when you're not plugged in, it then flicks over to using the battery. We have, as we've shown in previous videos, we have it's actually a 300 amp hour, well, let's call it a 280 amp hour lithium iron phosphate battery, and we are wondering how it would cope with the strip, and it's done incredibly well and handled this fridge no problem at all. So let's take you through some of the ins and outs of this fridge. So the fridge is exactly the right width to go in, and length. In fact, it sticks out a little bit. That's not a problem to us. You can see here it sticks out maybe just a tad more than you might want it to, but right at the back there it goes right and just about a centimeter clearance there, so we're quite happy with that. It was quite a snug fit to get it in. I actually had to gently push it, and actually undid some of the screws at the bottom of this thing here to actually get it in finally, and then put it back in. So it's really snug, not going to go anywhere. To show you this particular fridge, so this is the Isotherm Elegance, it's a Isotherm Freeline 115 Elegance fridge. Let's just start with the door. It's very different to the old Electrolux that was here. The Electrolux you could open completely with one hand. This one, I suppose you could, so the handle is in the middle here. They do it this way so that you can swap the hinges around to whichever way you want it really easily, and we have done that. So it used to open this way, we now open it this way. So it's quite, you pulling quite a lot, and I'd actually be a little bit concerned that we'd break this handle eventually if we actually opened it. So practically my wife and I found you have to use two hands. So you pull up the lever and then you open it. It's got quite a strong magnetic seal here, which is a good thing in that it won't open while you're driving or anything. So we really took this fridge through its paces. Over the 9 days it's been open and closed many times, and we've put a lot of warm things in to be cooled down, and very, very impressed with how this has performed. But let's take you through a detailed review of this fridge. You can see here is the clip that holds it closed, so yeah, and that should work really well when you're traveling. I don't expect the door would ever actually open. There's a bit of resistance to swinging it, which is good. Actually want that. You don't want something just swinging open for the sake of it. One of the things that I really like about this fridge is that there's a setting, sort of an eco setting, that you can set it on, that when it detects that the system is being charged, the battery is being charged, that it runs continuously that whole time. So if you have it on shore power, or if the sun is out and your panels are working well, the fridge will then take advantage of the surplus power, let's call it, to bring the temperature right down. So that's a feature I quite like, that it will just get everything really, really cold when there is surplus power. If we had turned it down one, so you've got a switch here at the bottom that you can change, so you can see there it's set on its warmest setting and then getting colder, and finally, well, let's get back up there. That's its coldest setting, and it'll click onto the eco setting. So when you open the door, these lights come on, which help you to see, which is quite nice. The stuff in here got really cold on this trip. Well impressed. It's a very, very efficient fridge. We were in very hot temperatures, and we had ice cold drinks in this fridge. Let's look at the freezer compartment. They've given this quite a lot of thought. Simple little flap, sticks up with a magnet, and everything in here is absolutely iced up. And you've got ice trays completely frozen solid. You can see by all the frosting in here that it does get really, really cold. It really freezes things well. And nice, very elementary lid. Quite like it. The shelves are okay. I mean, there's a little bit of, you can change one or two things, not an awful lot. I suppose you could take a shelf right out if you wanted to. We found we had to adjust our thinking in that everything has to lie down, so your bottles, your water bottles and your drinks, you just lie them down. Some of them can fit in the door, obviously. So nowhere can you put in something that's very tall into these shelves. Quite a nice little veg tray over here. The veg kept nice and fresh and cold. So it's 115 litres, you know, if the name says it all. In terms of the door, quite narrow things that can fit here. So these little tonic waters fitted in easily. You've got to bear in mind that when you close it, it's got to fit in under this here. So very short things, basically. This is the maximum height that you can put something in here, and quite narrow, and this is not flexible at all. Whatever fits in, fits in. In the bottom, obviously, you can use the full height. They've got these little divider thingies here, which kind of help. So you'd be able to fit in like a beer in one of those. Something a bit wider over here, and this is generally where you'd put your milk. In fact, I would rather take this little paddle out of here so we can fit a normal 1 litre or whatever maximum size of milk would actually go in here. You find between these two you can't get much of a milk carton in here, so we use those tiny milk cartons. So the biggest disadvantage for me is that this is not well thought through. They should have actually done something so that you could put some bigger things in here, because there's nowhere else to really put it. That's the one disadvantage. The other is the fact that you have to have two hands to open it practically. But from a usability point of view, as I said, we've been traveling for 9 days now, and been in and out extensively. Many times we actually sort of just went overboard and put lots of things in. This thing was really loaded while we were traveling, loads of stuff in it, everything kept really cold. And I'm really impressed with this fridge. If anybody's thinking of upgrading their old 3-way absorption fridge, this is a really good option to go for. I would say before you do that, you need to seriously consider upgrading your batteries. If you haven't gone over to lithium, then you need to consider a lithium based solution. I think you might get we used to have 4 lead acid batteries, and you might get away with a lead acid battery approach, and we probably would have having 4, but we know that 4 lead acid batteries gives you, if you're ambitious, would be 200 amp hours of storage, whereas our lithium at the moment is just under 300 amp hours. So and way more efficient, it charges faster and all that sort of stuff. So yeah, highly recommend that you upgrade your fridge if you can. And in our case, this fridge was the exact size that we needed to replace our 3-way absorption. So you just have to measure yours and see how wide and how tall and how deep, and see which one you can use. So thanks for watching this video, and if you have any questions or comments, please post them in the comments below and we'll get back to you. We'll post the link of where we got this fridge from, if it's of any help, down below, and let's hope that your fridge is the exact right size that you can get the replacement and just slot it in. Otherwise, see you in the next episode. Cheers folks.